Welcome to top of the engineering pass. Ironically, this isn't the top of the engineering pass, but somebody has made this exact spot the engineering pass itself. When you to get to engineering pass, you basically take the Animas Fork Road, which at this point in the season is just like the great irony is if you get here too early, the trails are closed. And there's snow everywhere, and it's slippery, slick conditions. The benefit of it is that you get to see waterfalls just everywhere. Just oh my goodness. It's also cold and windy, right? But the further you go in the season, the warmer it gets. The wind suddenly just kind of disappears. As a matter of fact, I would say that the last couple of weeks, definitely, even with all the rains we've been getting, no wind whatsoever, right? So I'm here on top of the engineering pass. There's barely any wind. Animas Fork this late in the season is horrible to drive. The engineering pass, it's almost a pleasure. It's almost flat by comparison. Crazy stuff. But the scenery here is just spectacular. You got 360-degree views, which, by the way, if you do go to the engineering pass, but not further, which I don't plan to go further, there's two parts of the engineering pass that you need to experience. So the very first is obviously the engineering mountain, which is there, okay? And of course the engineering pass itself. The second part is if you go there to the crest and you go a little bit down and you see this portion over there, okay, just a little bit further than that, there's a drive-through where you could go on top and you have this absolutely spectacular view of the Animas Fork Basin and that whole. So we're going there next. But for time being, this is the pass. So this is the side that's facing Uri and Silverton. And now I'm gonna take you on the other side. Harder to breathe here. There's unfortunately no placards, nothing. So I don't know if the rest of the trail is easy because like as I'm gazing upon this, it looks flat. So I don't know if it's flat all the way to Lake City. I have no way of telling that. Somebody asked me as to why I choose to skip certain portions of trails or why I choose not to do trails, period. Which I should say I tend to do everything unless there's a very good reason why I don't do that. So I'll give you an example with this. To get to Lake City, it's about 20 miles on the actual engineering pass, right? The Animas Fork adds another, I would say, 10 to 12. So that's just to get to the Lake City. And then if you choose to do the Cinnamon Pass, right, it's 28 miles to get to Animas Fork, right? And then you have to do the 10 to 12 miles back to Silverton. Well, that whole experience takes enormous amount of time. And if the road is rough, it gets old really quick. Again, I have no way of knowing. Maybe the rest of the way is flat as a glass and very easy to drive. No way of telling. But even if it is flat like you see over there, when you go 10 miles an hour, to drive 20 miles, it will still take you 2 hours just to get to Lake City, even if it's flat over here. So, there's trails. Black Bear is a perfect example. Independent of my vehicle not able to do the Black Bear Pass because it's in a decrepit state of existence. If you choose to do the Black Bear Pass, you commit to that, right? There's no point of which somebody brought up another point. Black Bear Pass is not one way. I don't care what anybody else says. There's only one portion of entire Black Bear Pass that is one way. It's from the top. Okay, listen, pay attention, because there's somebody going to be contacting me in private messages. Okay, it's only one way from the top of the stairs to the bottom of the Bridal Veil Falls and the bottom of the where they have that electric station, to the bottom of those falls. That's the only portion of entire Black Bear Pass that is one way. The Black Bear Pass is about, I would say, I don't know, 8 to 12 miles total, if you count all the approaches and departures and all that other stuff. Okay? The actual Black Bear Pass, I think it's about 8 miles. 8 miles? Maybe even 5. But if you choose to commit to the Black Bear Pass, if you have a capable vehicle and you have spotters and all that stuff, right? If you go to the point where it's one way, to return back to Silverton, it will take you another at least 2.5 to 3 hours, right? That's a sort, depending on what time of day you choose to do the trail, you're going to be crossing over the easiest ways to get through the Ophir Pass, okay, which is like a 2-hour just by itself, plus the time it gets you from Telluride to the Ophir Pass, so that's like 3 hours. If you choose to do Imogen is like 11 to 12 miles where you have to go off-road, and you're going to be crossing, past the dark hours. If you choose to do asphalt all the way around to Cortez, all the way back to Silverton, that's almost, I don't know, like 100 miles or so, if not, probably even more. If you choose to go to Ridgeway, that's like 80-mile round trip. So there's very legitimate reasons as to why I choose or not choose to do certain trails. Because if you commit, I mean, that's, I had ample amount of opportunities to do the Engineering Pass entire shebang, to do the Cinnamon Pass entire shebang, to do the Stony Pass entire shebang, but once you commit to it, that makes it for a very, very long day, if anything. And then you also have to consider the following. I'm zigging and zagging, but I'm crossing over here, right? This is the backside of the Engineering Pass. If there is stuff over here, is it really worth visiting? I don't know, because you could basically see everything you need to see on the closer side. So that's kind of it, really. That's my personal take as to why I choose or not choose to do certain parts of trails. Oh, by the way, we're fairly high up. I don't know what the elevation is. I haven't gone to the placard. But there's still snow over here.